Welcome to Women Thrive podcast. This is where you'll get to hear incredible stories of female entrepreneurs, business owners, women from all walks of life. Myself, Raymond Jan, and my co-host Abigail will be interviewing incredible women, hearing inspiring stories of women from all around the world. I have no doubt that you will find something that will be life-changing for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and join us for our future episodes.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Women Thrive podcast. I am your host, Abigail Rebecca. I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today. I'm always excited to introduce you to our guest, but especially today, we have just literally come off a 2-hour live broadcast to our Women Thrive community, and we are coming on again to discuss what I believe is such a great topic for us as female CEOs, entrepreneurs, founders, businesswomen: boundaries. Boundaries. So important for us to put those boundaries in place. So I want you to ask a question today to yourself. Do I have boundaries? Do I need to work on my boundaries? And how can I really implement effective boundaries that enable me to be able to preserve my own energy and enable me to go forward and create my big vision in this world? So talking about this today, we have our amazing guest. She's one of our speakers. Her name is Christiana Genie. She empowers corporate women to claim their power, set boundaries, and create space for pleasure and success without guilt and overthinking. She specializes in supporting women to understand their automatic behaviors and shift their mindset in a way that they become unstoppable towards their personal and professional goals. Christiana, it's so lovely to have you here today on our podcast.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I enjoy the energy and the vibe you have. I love it. And also being part of the Women Thrive Summit, it's such an amazing experience. And the connection with all you ladies, I see this passion of being so empowered to help other women, find their way. And I absolutely love it. I'm in my space.
Likewise, I love your energy and your vibe. And I think that this is what's so amazing about the communities that we create here at Women Thrive. We're all like-minded. We're all completely individual and powerful leaders, but our shared experiences and also our shared values really bring us together. And, we're so excited to have you in our community and to have you also speak on our summit in March. I did a very quick introduction there. Would you be able to share with us a little bit more about your work and your vision and your mission in this world?
Yes, sure. So I would like to share with you how I started. Basically, in 2008, I got married the first time. So I started thinking, when I have children, I don't want to pass on to them all these wounds and the programming that was not helping me be happy. So I started studying and I became a child coach. At that time, I had another business. I had a computer science school. So I just did it for me because I didn't want to pass on the wounds to my children. Some years after, I was keep studying and learning about kids' drawings and dreams and parenting and stuff like that. So I was getting into our mind and how the human mind works more and more. And in the end, I was going to teach computers and I was like, you don't seem very well. What's wrong? And they would start telling me about their lives. And I was, trying to coach them. And I realized that that was not the place I wanted to be. Also, at the same time, I realized that my second marriage at that time was not the place to be. So as you understand, I was in a very transitional state in my life. So through that experience, shifting from one business to coaching and shifting from being married and happily married, as it seemed outside, to a single mom with two very young babies, like a 7 months and 2 years old, it was very scary because I had a calling to either listen to myself, what I really wanted, or just shut it down, and silence everything. So the first thing I did was this. I silenced everything until I had a breakdown. And I think it was the scariest thing I ever experienced in my life when my body stopped collaborating with my mind. It was like I had a burnout. It was like a breakdown, basically. And since then, I started seeing life very differently. I was like, what am I doing? I have to create me again because it seemed like the way that I was not functioning properly. Something was wrong. I was not happy. I had everything. I had the family, I had the job, I had everything. Nothing was missing. So I was very miserable. So I started creating the space. I started shutting down everybody outside of me. Like I could not listen to anybody anymore. So I started listening to my voice and my mind, and everything was telling me, just change, change, leave the marriage, leave the job, change everything. And of course, everybody around me was telling me not to. Because nobody would take that responsibility. And this is what we have to understand. The reason that I'm so passionate about boundaries is that we have to take the responsibility of our life. And in order to do that, we have to create the space. So in time and believing that I want to show my girls something healthier as a prototype for a woman. I don't want to show them what a woman is like it was all these years. The cover other people need, adjusting to everybody, just being pretty and sad inside. I don't want them to have this as a prototype. So I committed to creating a new prototype for them. And in this process, I'm doing it for every other woman that wants to shift from that prototype to the new one.
I love that's your part of your vision, right? To show your children that there's a different way. I really love your story. When I was listening to your story just then, I wrote down your purpose found you. I think that your story holds a beautiful example of that sometimes we can go and do different things, but actually the what we're here to do, the purposeful work, eventually will find us. And it's about really accepting that, and also about really listening to yourself and your wisdom. We're so new to this, aren't we, as women? If you think about only 20, 30, 40 years ago,
Yes.
we did not have the freedom that we have now, and we're by no means there. But sort of learning how to, like you say, put in these boundaries, learn to listen, to trust our guidance, to really take responsibility for ourselves and our own actions and our own self-leadership. We're so new to this. Why do you feel that sometimes as women, it can be difficult for us to set these boundaries? Why do you feel that in your experience within your business?
I love this question because I think about it with my children. I see my mom and me as moms. Like my mom was, she was thoughtful of what other people would think about us as children, about them as parents, because we live in a small community as well. So it was stronger. So I see me now as a mother, and I'm chill. Like my kids say, like, it's okay, whatever happens, it's fine. You're experiencing world, you're experiencing life. So sometimes we'll go somewhere and, their hair will be a little bit of a mess and stuff like that. And I'm always like, fix their hair. And I'm like, I don't care, Mom. She's fine. She's fine. And I'm seeing the space that I am creating for them. So the reason that we are not setting the boundaries is because we haven't been given the tools to do it. Like for me, it was more difficult to set the boundaries because my mom had difficulty setting the boundaries. So I never saw it happening. But my kids that see me setting them boundaries no matter what, and they see also, they see the other people, how they respond, and they see that the response is not pleasant sometimes. And they see me being contained. Sometimes they see me being sad. Sometimes they see me being angry or being helpless, but they also see me staying fixed to the boundaries that I set. And that's very important. So the reason that our generations had difficulty setting the boundaries is because we don't have the tools to do it. We have never seen it, so we have to create it. And it's very difficult because you have very strong emotions that were very demonized, like they were, when we were young, they were telling us things to feel guilty and adjust to them, right? Many times they were telling you to do things just because you felt guilty that somebody else was going to be hurt. So guilt is very strong on our generations, and especially here in Cyprus, like I tell them, is the worst tool mothers had in the older days because guilt is immobilizing you. So we feel guilt. Also, we feel fear. They are the two main emotions that are keeping us stuck. So if you don't have somebody to tell you, you know what, you're allowed. You are allowed to do this. Many times in my office, I find it so amazing that women just want somebody to tell them that, it's fine. You're allowed to do it, claim it. And then they go and do it. It's like they were expecting somebody to give them the permission that they can do it because they have never seen it in front of them.
Yeah, sometimes we need to have that permission, access to that permission from someone else before we can give ourselves permission to do it. I've never thought about it that way, actually. And I just love the angle that you've taken with that. Of course, there's the guilt, there's the fear that we carry as women, but the fact that really the role models out there just didn't exist because it was a different generation. And if I look back to my childhood and potential role models that I might have had in my life that were setting boundaries, they were kind of like set up as, difficult women. Oh, she's someone difficult to work with, like really degrading words that are used about women. And now we have the opportunity to do that and to really stand in our power and also set the example for next generations, right? So it's about changing the narrative about that as well, that I see that this is something that's empowering. It means that we love ourselves and we're not labeled as someone that's difficult to deal with or someone that has issues or anything like that. It's a positive thing, right?
Yeah. Sometimes they tell me, because I work a lot with women in leadership and entrepreneurs. So, they have a lot of communication with other people and they say, I cannot be solid with my boundaries. And I say, why? Because they will say that I'm a B, the word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, that's a good thing. When they say that, you're going to say, yes, I am,
Own it.
It's like, that's a good thing because it means that you're taking them out of the comfort zone, which is fine. I mean, this is what we need to do, what women need to do today. We have to change the prototype, the role model, or that we're giving the next generations as well. We are called to do it. This is our calling, the women of our generation. So there's another thing that I was thinking now that you were talking about setting the boundaries in an aggressive way. And what's great about setting boundaries? It's that you don't need to be aggressive. You just have to be very stable in what you're saying, like to just insist on it. You don't have to be aggressive because we learned if we see men that were setting boundaries, in contrast to women, most of them, they were aggressive because anger is allowed for men. It's like the emotion that they're allowed to have. And so we think that setting boundaries means fight. And it's not real. Setting boundaries means just being very, very solid and stay put. Just what you say, just keep it. And the more that you persist on it, the stronger and the clearer the boundary. So it's about managing the emotions through that process, about staying put and insist on your boundaries until the boundary is set. It's not about aggression, because aggression doesn't work. You are aggressive and then you don't keep the boundary, it's gone. So it doesn't matter if you like throw rocks. It's not gonna get you anywhere.
Yeah. And I do believe that with some women, that's one of the reasons that they don't set the boundaries, because they don't want to be aggressive. They don't want to react that way. But like you say, if we talk about role models and particularly men, and very often the way that men have done it in the past, it doesn't have to be that way. Mm-hmm. You spoke earlier about we don't necessarily have the tools to be able to set the boundaries. Would you be able to share a little bit with us about that? What is the process? And I know that this is what you teach. What is the process behind that? How do we start to create these boundaries in our lives and our business as well, actually?
Yes. Sometimes it seems that boundaries is just a thing that you have to do. But the truth is, boundaries is not such a simple thing to do. Why? You create your, let's say, the character during your childhood. So you have a role in your childhood that if this role doesn't allow you to set the boundaries, then when you grow up, it's difficult. Like, for example, if you're the good child, the polite one, and everything is, very, very nice and good on you, then setting boundaries means that you are shifting everything that you are in order to set the boundaries. So what we do is we start first to understand what you are, who you think you are. So we start working on the self-image. It's very important for women to understand this, that we need to work on the self-image. Our self-image, most of the women on earth, we have a very wounded self-image. So we need to understand that it starts from there. Who am I and why I am allowed to set the boundaries? And why to understand that, whatever you think you are is because somebody else told you that you are that, and then you believed it and you're just reinforcing it. You understand that, can change that? That's it. One of the greatest aha moments I think a person has, that you understand that whatever you have been because you believed that you were. So the tools, first of all, you have to understand what's in your programming, how you see yourself, and then start shifting that set of beliefs to the woman that you're allowed to set them boundary. And also another thing that I would say, it's a tool. It's self-compassion, of understanding that whatever you have gone through and the boundaries you never set, it's okay. I mean, it's fine because you didn't know otherwise. And this is how you were programmed, and you didn't have any other way to do it up until today. So today, you take responsibility and you have compassion for not being able to set the boundaries, even today. Because when you set boundaries, every time is different. It's not all the times the same, right? Sometimes it's very hard for people to set the boundaries because you hurt other people. You feel responsible for them because you don't accept yet that it's their responsibility, what they feel. But for you to set the boundaries, sometimes it's a hard process because you experience emotions that we were not allowed to have in childhood. So we're pushing them away. I don't want to feel guilt. I don't want to feel fear. I just want to feel loved, and I want everybody to accept me. So never mind the boundaries. But the more you understand that, I have to rebuild me. It's been done wrong, and I have to rebuild me. And I do it from deep love. So in my case, now, today, I set boundaries because I love me, because I feel like, I deserve it. What I had before was not fair for me. So I deserve to create the space to become what I want. And The clearest tool, the simplest tool, I would say, is just start setting them from the smallest boundary, the smallest no you can say. And there's a tip that I can share. People pleasers and women, we have this position a lot because we're taught very well how to do it. So what happens with people pleasers? They are very fast to say yes. So we have this tool in saying, don't reply immediately. Just when somebody asks you to do something for them or to go somewhere and you are not sure, just say, let me get back to you in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes, in the afternoon. And give the space to yourself to listen if you really want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to express it with words, you can say it by text. Because people that are fearful in setting boundaries, they don't feel ease to express it with words. So you can write it in a text. Today I cannot do that, or I don't have the time to do it. So you are not forced to experience the feeling yet, but you do start setting the boundary. And it's very interesting that when you start communicating in that way, people, they will also take the time to process and they will communicate. Sometimes after they are, disappointed with you or angry with you, they will reply back that it's fine. And you will see that I set the boundary just like that. And it gives you courage, to keep going.
Yeah. I will sleep on it is one of my favorite sayings.
Yes.
I love it. I love saying it because it gives me the space.
Yeah.
It means that I don't need to jump in and make a decision and say yes to something or say no to something that I might instantly regret, or maybe regret like later on in the day when I'm feeling different. Like I've really learned not to make decisions based on my emotions, just to let it like dissipate, and then I can make an informed decision from a place of very little emotional response to it.
Yes.
That strategy that you've just shared with us is invaluable for us as women leaders to really, look at your self-image, to have that self-compassion. Compassionate self-forgiveness is like, for me personally, has been the game changer for me standing in my leadership and really honoring to set those boundaries. I set those boundaries because I love me.
Yes, exactly. And when you feel bad for somebody else, like all the time I ask them, yeah, I know you feel bad for them, but how about you? I mean, you're betraying you. I mean, you have to love you a little bit more. It's not fair on you to do that. And it's difficult at the beginning to accept it, but the more that you accept it and you understand that, yes, I am a priority because I'm in this world to learn about me. I have this saying, I feel that everything in our life, everybody and everything that happens is just here to help us learn who we really are. And that's it. So it's the process of finding out what are you? What are you here to do? And with all that noise, it's impossible to do it. You need to create the space, the boundaries to create the space. And in order to evolve, it's like a flower, you have to create that space and the environment to let it bloom.
I could talk to you forever about this. It's such an interesting subject. And so, as I said before, so important for us as female leaders as all leaders really, to set the boundaries. This is for humanity. But I think as women, as you've already alluded to, we can do things in a different way, aligned to our natural inclinations and energy. We've also set boundaries around this interview because I know that you need to go. But I just wanted to say before we go and really ask you, what are you most looking forward to about speaking on the Women Thrive stage in March?
Oh my God. I mean, it's just being part of it, I feel excited about the day that we will all go on stage and talk about what we're passionate about. it's that feeling of being a part of this whole thing that you have created. It's amazing. And seeing all the ladies now, we meet each other now in the showcases and in the lives. And I love this common passion about helping women to evolve and create the new prototype. And I'm looking forward to every single the ladies will have, and of course mine.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So, this is just a taster of what Cristiana is going to be speaking about on our stage in March. So be sure to follow her, to connect in with her, to watch her talk, listen to her talk. Of course, if you're watching this in the future, you might want to go back in time a little bit and watch it, and it'll be available on the replay. Where can people find out more about you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, Instagram and LinkedIn are in English now because Facebook is all in Greek. And I would love to welcome everybody in my family on the social. Christiana Genie everywhere. They will find me. And of course, on my website, christianagenie.com.
Fantastic. Yes, I follow you on socials, and I noticed that you'd switched over to English. But saying that, it's so lovely as well, I think, that you are, you're teaching in your language, the Greek language. It's just so beautiful. So that's great to see as well. And we encourage that. The links are below for you to be able to connect in with Cristiana. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing wisdom with us today. Thank you for being an example with your boundaries and just for showing up in your beautiful energy and essence. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I truly enjoyed it.
And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We would love to know about boundaries, your boundaries. Are you setting them? What are you going to do differently now? How are you going to set those boundaries? How are you going to be more compassionate with yourself? How are you going to be able to change the opinion of yourself to, perhaps step into that leadership role, that self-leadership role? I am a person who sets boundaries for myself. We'd love to know. Please reach out to us here at Women Thrive. And of course, reach out to Cristiana. She will be so happy to hear from you. Thank you again for watching and listening to this episode, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Women Thrive podcast. If you found today's episode empowering and inspiring, be sure to subscribe and follow us. Better yet, leave a review and share it with others. We're committed to bringing you more stories that will empower and inspire you on your own journey. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep pursuing your dreams.